Hello, everyone. Jimmy here from My Online Guy with another episode of the Frothy Friday small business, entrepreneurship, marketing, SMMA podcast. So, for those who are just tuning in, this is obviously brand new to a few people that are tuning in. I'm Jimmy, My Online Guy. I have a seven-figure marketing agency. Have been doing digital marketing now for almost 10 years in the SEO space. Have had the agency for 5. So, I'm here to answer any questions you guys may have. Whack them in the comments below. And if you're coming from YouTube, make sure to subscribe, man. I do a video once a week and it's hard work. And, it is what it is, right? But yeah, it'd be awesome if you guys could go and subscribe while you're here. So let's just get straight into the questions. So I've loaded up a few questions from the different groups I'm a part of. I've been sort of writing down notes on which questions would be the best to answer, given the time that we have with everyone. Answer the questions and then we'll just go through them. So if you have any questions that you'd like me to answer, leave them in the comments and I'll answer them as we go along. So let's get straight into it. So first question comes, hi guys, was wondering what you think about the home improvement niche, specifically kitchen and bathroom remodeling. I'm new to the marketing scene and was wondering if you guys think it's too broad or does it need improvement? It's a good question. And I think it comes down to how to pick a niche, how to pick the right niche for what you're trying to achieve as an agency, right? So there's so many, I can see why people get confused and ask this question because there's so many different things you can target from a niche perspective as an agency owner that it's, and there's so many different opinions. You get all people all over the place going, go broad, go narrow, go wide, go deep, like there's so many different opinions. So this is how I've always determined what niche I'm going to target. I don't necessarily look at the niche itself, as in like, okay, this gentleman here is talking about home improvement specifically. I don't necessarily look at home improvement as the first thing I'm targeting. What I actually look at is if my job is to generate, say, leads for a business. So say, for instance, I'm wanting to get into home improvement niche because I'm going to help people that do kitchen and bathroom remodeling get more leads, get more lead flow, and get paid per lead with a retainer, something like that, right? You can look at it one way and go, okay, well, is there enough kitchen remodelers? Are they hard to deal with? Things like that. But the first thing I look at is service delivery. Is the audience that I'm going to be targeting with my ads or with my social media ads, SEO, however you're going to approach running the agency and the model you use, is the audience that I am going to target with those clearly defined so that I can target them properly? And if the audience is not clearly defined and they have no intent when they search or they're using it. So let's say home remodelers, right? You know that the person you're targeting is looking for a new kitchen. So you can feed those leads to the business you're working with. Now, if something obscure that doesn't have as clearly defined path to the business you're working with makes it that much harder. It's maybe not necessarily that hard to get the businesses to, if you've got a good enough offer, to get the businesses to work with you, but you've got to be able to deliver on the service too. So I always start from the service delivery back and go, can I actually get people to the business that need to justify them spending money with me? From there, I go, okay, so we're looking at the home improvement, kitchen and bathroom remodeling. Okay, so there is a specific intent. When someone needs a new bathroom, they look for it. So that's a tick, right? So that in itself makes it a viable niche. Now, what we need to determine is that from an unit economics perspective, does it make financial sense to target that niche? And the way you can do that, that was the service delivery side. Now we're going to look at the actual specific business side. G'day, Haru. Good to see you in the chat, mate. If you have any questions, you're an OG, just ask them and I'll answer them as we go. So we're now looking at the niche side and going, okay, well, the businesses that do the home remodeling and the kitchen and bathroom remodeling, the general thing that I will look for when it comes to a niche, is it high enough ticket that I can get a premium on the leads that I generate for them, and they have enough margin in that to actually pay someone to generate that stuff for you, right? So kitchen remodeling might be $5,000-$10,000. You could charge someone $200, $300, $400, $500 a lead for that. And you've got a clearly defined audience that you're going to target with your ads to give to the business from a lead generation perspective. And then you have a consumer of those leads that's willing to pay a premium, who has the wherewithal and budget to pay a premium for those leads. So I see a lot of people target niches like, I don't know, med spas and things like that. There's nothing wrong with that, but those businesses only charge people like $50, $100 for the service. So how much do you think makes financial sense for them to pay per person that's coming to them? You got to think of it from a unit economic standpoint. For that case, do you listen to Mars Volta? No, I don't. Adam on TikTok. No, I don't. Tell me more about it as I'm talking. I'm curious. So that's always what I look for in a niche, is that you're going to find there's so many niches you can pick from. So you've got to have some way of delineating it. So you want to look for a clearly defined audience to target with your ads so you can generate leads for the business you're working with. And then the business needs to make enough margin on those leads to actually pay you enough to justify you doing the work. That's what I've always done to sort of work through that. Guys, if you have any questions you want me to answer, leave them in the comments. For context, like I said, I've got a 7-figure marketing agency, legit 7-figure, not some, I don't sell courses. I don't have any of that stuff. I just work hard. Got a little YouTube channel. Make sure to go and follow that. Got 376 subscribers at the moment, so I'd like to increase that. So guys, So Angelic Energy on TikTok asks, how would you approach a business? Great question. I actually had someone else ask me that, and I'm going to answer it in a second, but I'll just quickly answer. Adam says, I'm progressive rock band in El Paso. They are mixed Latin. Okay, drop a link, Adam. We'll put it on at some point. Okay, so Angelic, how would you approach a business? So that's a great question, and Selena, I'll answer your question after this one. That's a great question. So you're basically asking, how would you approach a business as a new SMMA company with no class, no testimonials, no track record, right? It can be quite intimidating. I think it's easy for me now. Like, the bigger I've gotten, the easier it is for me to actually get the business, because I've got a track record. So it's quite easy for me to go to a business and go, well, look, let me do what I did for them. But let's say you're starting out and don't have that track record. How do you get that? And how do you approach these businesses? I've always told people that I've coached and mentored that the best approach, if you don't have what I did, and I can only speak from experience, and the best approach I think is just be honest. If you go to these businesses and approach them and go, look, I don't have as much experience as someone like Jimmy, but what I will tell you is I'll work as hard as I can. I'll work as hard as anyone you've ever met to get you results. I am good at what I do. And you go in there with a bit of confidence. That theoretically, that's what you need to do. Now, from a practical perspective, there's so many ways to do this. So what I did when I first started is I was making Loom videos of things that I could do to help them. And I was just providing heaps of value for free, like 20, 30-minute videos, because I had time. Right now, have no time. No time means I have to like automate a lot of the processes. But back when I had time, I would just sit and make a 20-minute Loom video going, hi, it's Jimmy here from My Online Guy. I came across your website and noticed there's a few things I could help you with here. I don't know how you're getting your leads at the moment, but here's some ways you could generate leads for yourself. You don't need an agency. Give them the advice and then go, well, look, if you do need any help with that, let me know. And I would have 80% of the people I send videos to at least talk to me and entertain the idea of it, because you got to call their bluff. If they were willing to do the work to get the leads, they would have done it themselves. That's what people don't realize. So if you go ahead and give them that advice and shows you have expertise in what you're talking about, then you can go ahead and go from a position of like power and expertise and have those conversations with people. So Angelic, hopefully that helps. Selena, I'll answer your question. Then Squally, thanks for tuning in. I'll answer your question next. So Squally, Selena mentions, I'm finding it difficult to know my target market. Yeah, so if you're finding it difficult to know who your target demographic is when you're doing in your SMMA, then you haven't looked at the psychographics of your demographic of who you're targeting. So people look at the superficial side of it and go, oh, I want to target home improvement companies. But within the home improvement niche, there are several sub niches, and those sub niches can be like actual practical things, like this person does specific types of kitchens, or it could be psychographics. So like, my competitive advantage is I'm a little bit older. I'm reasonably well spoken. I'm a very casual kind of guy. So I target a very specific type of person. It doesn't necessarily matter what niche they're in. It's a type of person, which is a down-to-earth person with kids. who wants to work with someone. No, of course, Angelic, happy to answer any questions that come in. Is someone that is down to earth with kids that's a similar age to me that wants to work, that's willing to work hard and is ambitious. They happen to fall into a niche that I wanted to do, that I wanted to work with, and that's how I sort of determined it. So my suggestion, Selena, is to really think about the type of person it is and work back from that. Because once you know the type of person, then you can start to create ads that specifically tailor to them, and you can split outreach to people specifically like that. So Squire Lee's got a question here on YouTube. Thank you for tuning in, OG. What advice would you give for a marketing business in regards to guarantees which have no testimonials? This is a really good question, because in 2023, you need to kind of have some kind of guarantee. When I started marketing, you could basically it was reasonably novel. Of course, Selena, thank you for tuning in. It was quite novel. So like people didn't necessarily need a guarantee because they're still learning about SEO and all these other things. Now it's really important to have a guarantee. So I get away with not necessarily having a guarantee because of the type of work I do. But like, let's say you need a guarantee and you have no testimonial. You need to have some kind of substance to it. I think I see a lot of guarantees that people promise that just having experience in marketing, I know full well they're never going to achieve. When you promise someone 50% increase in their sales in 1 month, you're basically just pulling an arbitrary number out of a hat. Now, what you can do if you don't have if you have no testimonials that you can guarantee, is you can go, when you offer your guarantee, you go, this is how I came up with that number. What we are going to do is generate this many leads a month, and it generate this much traffic a month, and we aim to convert 5% of that traffic. 5% of 1,000 is 200. 200. We're going to get 200 people that inquire. Of those 200, we're going to try and convert 20% of those people. 200, 20, 40 inquiries a month. That's how you get to the number. If you can just show it's not bullshit and it's actually not an arbitrary number, then you have a lot higher chance of like quashing that need for a testimonial. The only reason they're asking for a testimonial is they don't trust you, and you probably haven't given them a reason to trust you. So that's what my suggestion would be, Squally. So got a question here from Ewan. G'day, Ewan. Hopefully you're doing well, my friend. It's good to see you in the chat here. Rehan, thanks for tuning in on YouTube there. Make sure to subscribe. So how do you go about raising capital to start your business? Good question. I was fortunate. I never necessarily needed to raise capital when I first started the agency. I had a bit of capital behind me, but it's a good question. So your best way to raise capital when you start is family, friends, and fools. That is your best bet to start. Besides that, you need to have a minimum viable product that actually shows traction. That's the minimum requirement for raising capital. In 2023, if you don't have an MVP, a minimal viable product that's actually generating revenue, you're going to find it very difficult to get capital. Because for context, I'm a sophisticated investor. From an accounting perspective, I can technically invest in other businesses. I would never invest in a business that didn't have traction. Even if it's very small traction, I would never invest in a business that didn't have some form of traction and some form of validation in the market. So you need to have that validation. If you have validation, it's actually quite easy to get capital. You lean on your networks, your referral networks, you go to like AngelList, you attend networking events, and you just start putting it out there, and you get your elevator pitch down, 30 seconds, really explaining what you do, try and pique the interest of someone like myself, have a bigger meeting, give you a pitch deck, show the results that you've been getting, and go from there. So I'll answer your question in a second, my friend. Thank you for tuning in. I'm just got a question on TikTok here from Todd. Thank you for tuning in, of course. Any tips on helping a small business outrank a national competitor in local SEO? To be fair, I've done it a lot. I've done SEO for almost 10 years now, so I have a lot of domain expertise when it comes to this. It's actually quite easy to do. So we worked with the Gyms Group, which is the largest franchise group in Australia, and we come up against this all the time. You've got to remember, these big national brands are spread so thin on the ground that if you create a website that has local context and really, really good content, you would generally just outrank them as just needs enough time, because Google is trying to serve up the best result that gives the best user experience. So they know that a national brand that's giving a proportion of its time to a specific suburb is not as authoritative as a website that has a homepage, about us, services, location, all that kind of stuff. That that's what I tell national brands. So we work with a few national brands, and that's what I tell them is that you don't. The inverse is the issue. It's like when you're coming up against locals, you have to battle the fact that you're effectively got to create a full website that competes with other full websites in a specific suburb level. So yeah, it's quite easy. Just local context. You need to give Google local context. So directories, you need to have localized links. You need to go to the radio station and get a link from the radio station. Contextual, give Google local context that you are the authority in that area. So that's what I would do there. So manage digital. You and cheers, Big Jim, going well. Just have my own sales area. Excellent. Well done, mate. Good to hear. So manage digital asks, how do you go about learning Google Ads strategy for a specific niche? I've done a lot of Google Ads learning, but I don't know what campaigns goal strategy would have results for my client and niche. It's a good question. So basically what you're asking, Todd, no worries. Make sure to follow on TikTok if you're watching, if you're getting value out of this. Same with YouTube. So you're basically asking, like, you know Google Ads, but moving into a different niche, how do you decide on how to tackle it from a strategy perspective? So we have this problem all the time. We work with a lot of niches, and because of that, we have this issue where it's like, okay, we're now doing a locksmith. How the hell do we do this? Do you want to know my secret and how we get really good results? Is I copy other people. And as bad that sounds, I'm a big proponent of practical marketing. I don't try and pretend to be a Google guru. I just practical marketing. So what I do, right? Let's say I have a new niche in Google Ads and I have to create these Google Ads campaigns. What I'll do is, like, let's say it's in Perth here in Western Australia. I will go to somewhere like Beverly Hills and I'll go type in locksmiths and I'll go see what their ads are doing. And because you have a foundational understanding of Google Ads, you'll know you'll know that, okay, this is could work, this couldn't work, these things, that kind of stuff. So you go in there and go, okay, well, this is actually a good title, this is a good description, this is some good, and I just basically take that stuff, copy it, and then I tweak it slightly to work locally. That's the best way to do a strategy for new niches, see what's working for other people, and then formulate your Google Ads strategy around what you think would work based on your experience. And that's how I would go about it, right? And it works really well when you do it that way. You've got a lot of people that have put a lot of time and money into some of these more competitive spaces. You can just go ahead and wholesale go, okay, well, if their ads are showing up consistently in Beverly Hills #1, well, there's probably things that Google likes about that. And that's how we've always been able to get good ROASs from day one for our campaigns. And then as we get data, we start to modify that. So I call it like exploration. You just explore different areas, take what you think will work, and then you rip that up and do that. So that's what I would suggest if you're trying to do Google Ads or Facebook ads in a different niche that you're not familiar with. Hopefully that answers your question, Manage. Let me know if you got any follow-ups to that. So let's see. I've got some other questions here that I've written down. Okay, so what do you guys find is the best way to get your clients? Great question. And it's a question that comes up a lot. It's like you get someone, you promise a whole bunch of stuff, you get them over the line, and then you're like, well, actually, what do I do now? Now, there's a lot of SMMA courses out there that teach people how to get clients, but there's not many courses that teach them how to actually get results for them. And, at some point I might dip my toe into that. If I was ever going to make a course, it would be teaching people how to deliver a service, because there's enough out there for teaching people how to get leads. There's not much out there that teaches deliver service, because that requires experience. And there's a lot of people out there that lack the experience. It's only a relatively new space. I can understand why. So let's talk about that. So you've got to find out the best way to get your clients. It really depends on the niche. Now, I generally will split businesses into two categories. You have referral type businesses and you have intent-driven businesses. So what I would call an intent-driven business is someone like a plumber. You tap brakes, you go on Google, you look for a plumber, right? So it's intent-driven. For intent-based type of like where searches happen, Google is clearly the best way to get clients for your clients. If you're working for someone like a real estate agent, that's more referral-based. Generally, someone will know a real estate agent, or they'll have a friend of a friend, or they'll get a thing in their mailbox. Impression-based advertising works really well for that, because that's how they traditionally find people anyway. So if you can interrupt that pattern using, so they're already on Google, on Facebook in groups looking for this, and you can interrupt that pattern with an ad for a really good real estate agent, generally works pretty well. So that's what I would do, is like, okay, well, and that's how I would find it. Now you're talking about clients. Yeah, clients. That's how you would do it. Now, there's so many ways, there's so many intricacies in that, but that's the nuts and bolts of how I would practically go about it. Is I would just, I would do that. I would go, is this person, so let's say my niche is like plumbing or home improvement. Would they, if I was looking for a plumber, how would I find them? And then you work back from that. So like real estate agents, I see this in the real estate niche all the time, run SEO. People don't search for a real estate agent. People will ask Facebook groups. They will just know someone. Someone will cold call them. So it's useless doing Google. Like there's so many things you could do before you did SEO for real estate agents. And that's why you don't see many Google ads for real estate agents, because it just doesn't work that well. So you got to know your niche, and you got to know what the things can do, like the tools can do. So that you can, you got to know what these Facebook, Google, TikTok, all these things can and can't do. So you can determine that strategy. Guys, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I will answer them as you would have seen with the last questions. Rian, if you've got a question, leave it in there. If you're tuning in, make sure to follow, guys. I do this once a week, and I'll get on for an hour and have a chat. So make sure to follow, make sure to subscribe, things like that. So got another question here. So, hey, bro, what types of audience do you reckon I should start to test when advertising for a gardening agency? So, hey, bro, what types of audiences do you reckon I should test when advertising for a gardening company? Okay, so the context here is this person's doing marketing for a gardening company, and they want to build Facebook ads because they're talking about audiences, right? So you can build audiences in Google ads, but it's not the first thing you would do. Okay, so the single best thing I ever got taught about audiences was that people tend to target the superficial front-facing stuff of an audience. So, in this case, social as anything. Thank you for the question. I will answer it. In a second. I'll just finish this question. So, people tend to target the superficial front-facing part of an audience. So you have people that will gardening. So they'll target people who have an interest in gardening. No, they're not your target demographic. People need to think of the psychographics and think about what people would do based on the psychographic profile of someone. So gardening, for instance, right? They're probably homeowners. Okay, what kind of income does a homeowner have? There's a minimum threshold. I would be targeting things like Formula One racing potentially. I would be targeting things like Home Depot. I would be targeting things like some Netflix TV series. People think they have to target things that are related to their niche, but don't realize actually the riches and the way you go about doing this is targeting the psychographics and targeting the places they hang out. It's like if I was to run like ads for My Online Guy, for instance, if I was running ads, I'd be targeting people that liked jet skis and boats and fast cars and, like Milwaukee tools. Things like that, because that's the psychographic of my audience. That's not the demographic. It's a big difference. And it's why my ads perform and, this poor gentleman's ads probably don't, because you don't have to keep it within the niche. Facebook, Google, all these platforms are smart enough to connect someone that's like interested in Formula One cars with, actually he needs gardening as well. He's not just thinking about Formula One cars all day, every day. So it's a big thing that people need to understand when it comes to, especially new people into the space. Target the psychographics of people, target the demographics after that, but don't just target the superficial stuff. Go deep with it, really understand who the person you're trying to target is, and target those things that they like that you can put eyeballs in front of. So that'd be my answer to that question. Okay, Social as Anything has asked a question. Thank you for the question. If you were stuck in a pool for 24 hours, would you prefer to be stuck with a crocodile or a shark? Good question. So would I prefer to be, if I was stuck in a pool for 24 hours, would I prefer to be stuck with a crocodile or a shark? I don't know. I think a crocodile would be better because no. I think a shark would be better because I feel like they've only got one mode of action, which is biting you. A crocodile has many ways they can hurt you. They can grab, and once they get a hold of you, they don't let go. Whereas, a shark might take a chunk out of you, but they're gone, like they take it and go. So I think I'd prefer to be in with a shark. I could kick it in the nose and face. You can't hurt a crocodile. So that's my social as anything. I asked the big questions. Yeah, I've never thought about it, but yeah, probably a shark, because I reckon I could kick a shark or have a better chance of disabling a shark than I do a crocodile. Plus, if you're in a pool for 24 hours with a crocodile, you might as well just lay flat and let yourself go. You're not going to survive that. Whereas you got half a chance of surviving with a shark. So that's my answer to that question. So next question is, thanks for the question, social as anything. Great question. What is people's most effective lead generation strat? I feel like everyone I try falls short. I want to get names, addresses, personal emails, company names, websites. Okay, so he's talking about lead sourcing. So what is the most effective lead sourcing strategy for building a list that you can target with direct response outreach or Google Ads or whatever? So I've been battling with this for a long time because I like to do quite personal outreach. So I do direct response outreach through emails using Looms. And because of that, there's so many people that do it, but I put the first name, the last name, the business name of the person in there. Now, that data is available individually, but there's nowhere that you can get a business name, first name, last name, and email accurately in one spot. So what I did for a while was just use traditional D7 lead finder, things like that, tried to fill in the gaps. But many, many years ago, people don't realize, and I've never really told anyone this, I used to do a thing called skip tracing, which is where a private investigator basically hires someone that's really good with computers to go and find key details of someone that they can give to a debt collector to say find a debt, or if they have to serve a summons, things like that. So the private investigator would contract me. I would then go and try and find their email address, their phone number, basically dox them. That was my job, is to try and dox them online, try and get them details so they could serve their summons or do whatever, find a bail, give it to a bailiff, things like that. So that was my, I did that for a little bit just as like a little side hustle, which was good. I only did it for a few months, but skip tracing works incredibly well for this because business owners' details are everywhere. So what I've done is I've taught 2 virtual assistants to skip trace, basically taught them from scratch. So I go on Google My Business, I scrape the names of the businesses and any details I can find. And then we use skip tracing to fill in the gaps, which is essentially, they'll go on the website, they'll start to manually cruise the website. They might find the first name. From the first name, they might Google search business name, first name, business name, email. And then they, from there, they may go, okay, well, can't find that. Go to Australian Securities Investment Commission and go and find the details there. There's so many ways to find these details. There's just not one spot that does it all together. So that works really well. We can get about 40 to 50 first name, last name, business name, first name, last name emails a day. I only send 30 emails out a day if I'm generating leads. So, that's plenty for us. We can keep on top of that and give us a bit of a buffer. But the beauty about doing it manually like that is that the results you get from your direct response outreach or your lead generation is significantly better because you'll generally get the first name, last name, and email right. So you're not getting bounces from emails. When you send the email, it's going to the right person with the right name. There's a lot of benefits to doing it manually. It's just expensive. I pay these, they're working, generating me names. That's all they're doing. So, there's $3,000 a month I spend on generating names. I get 1,500 names a month from that though. So I can easily make the return on that investment. So that's the thing to consider. So social as anything, modern problems require modern solutions. The interesting thing about the lead sourcing space for finding leads to target is that the data is done to death. If you don't find your own sources of data, you're just going to be hitting people that have been hit again and again. That's why I have such high open rates on my emails, why I have such high appointment rates, because I'm targeting people that have never been approached by anyone because their details aren't in any list. They're too hard to get together in a list. So that's why I think it works reasonably well for me. Guys, if you have any other questions, I'm got another 20, 30 minutes. So please feel free to leave them in the chats. I will answer them as we go. If you haven't yet, make sure to like, follow, subscribe, do whatever you can. You know, these aren't easy for me to get up at 9 o'clock at night and record 9:30 at night, but I do enjoy them. I do enjoy answering questions. So yeah, just ask me questions. Okay, so Mimi's party supplies. What do you send in the actual email? Sorry, I'm just dropping in and curious. No, of course, Mimi. Basically, I try and inject a bit of humor into my email. So essentially what I'm doing, my goal when I send an email is I'm trying to get someone to book an appointment with me so I can talk to them about marketing, right? That's what I'm trying to do with my emails. So basically I start and I go, might as well just tell you how it works. I go, question for Jimmy Mitchell. Let's say that's the thing. And I go, g'day, Jimmy. It's Jimmy here from My Online Guy. Hopefully it's not too crazy over a business name. I'm just pinging you because, I do marketing and I work with a lot of businesses in your space and we have gotten really good results. Now, I know you're a busy guy, so I made this quick Loom video. So I always send a video with my emails, which helps significantly with open rates, conversion rates. I know you're a busy guy, so crack a beer, here's 2 minutes. But I really try and inject humor into my emails. What people don't understand, and Mimi, I assume that you run a business, so I'm going to talk to this from a business perspective. People don't understand that email is one of the most valuable resources you have as a business owner. It's one of those few channels that has not been fully exploited. It got exploited, then people gave up on it and tried other things. But email, if you craft good emails that have that actually serve a purpose and have a call to action, your open rates are generally pretty good. So Mimi's party supplies, you should be building an email list. Everything you do should be heading towards building an email list. If you're not getting them to buy something, you need to get their email. And then you should be sending emails once a week, twice a week, once a month at a very minimum. And they're not like sales stuff. It's like advice, help, building authority to try and get them to another channel where you can sell them. So you can convert people directly through emails with sales and things like that. But what I find works best, say for me, is I'll write an email going, oh, did you know that there was this update on Google? You can find out more about it. So that's awesome. Great wording. I'm a social media manager, but I feel like this can translate. Mimis, if you're ever interested, let me know. Just ping me privately. Let me know. We could do a call if you want. No cost to you. I'll just record it for YouTube, and I can help you craft that email for the companies you work with if you want. Happy to do that. Just let me know. And thanks for jumping in and asking the question. But yeah, businesses should be sending emails out more often than they do, because I haven't met a person yet that is able to withstand seeing an email in their inbox that looks legitimate and not open it. It's same with SMS. That's why SMS is so effective. No one can just sit there with a phone and go, oh, there's an SMS there, I'm just going to ignore it. It's the same with emails. If you got in your inbox and there's an email there and it's like question for Jimmy Mitchell and it looks legit, I'm going to be like, shit, I'm going to have to open this thing now and see what's inside. No one can. It works really well. And then what normally lets people down is they don't have good enough copy in their emails to convert people. Yeah, it's addictive. You got to open it. It's 100% true. It's like, people get Facebook messages. When Facebook first came out, you used to get a message and it was the same sort of thing. Got so burnt out that no one cares about it anymore. But emails have always done that. Now, the other reason you should have an email list is that you have full control of that data. So like if you're working through Facebook or if you're working through Google Ads, you don't control any of that data. You don't control the outcomes. You don't control any of it except what the inputs you put in. So you can't monetize it without giving a piece to whoever's data that is. Whereas if you build an email list of a couple of thousand people, you own that list. You can do everything. You can do whatever you want with that list, really, within reason. So it's very important to own, to have a data point that you can fully control and you can fully take advantage of without having to give a piece to someone else. That's another reason to do it. So Michael has asked, where are you, Michael? Hey, Jimmy, social as anything. I love a free call too, please, sir. Of course, come over for a beer, mate. You know where I am. Hey, Jimmy, what are your opinions on performance max campaigns? Great question. I don't like them. I've said this from the very start. I'm very vocal about this. Anything that Google or Facebook tries to do to make that they recommend is generally just trying to line their pockets. Now, anecdotally, I've done one Performance Max campaign, but I've anecdotally worked on with a company who does about $200,000 a month in Google Ads. I consult with them, and the Performance Max was working well until it wasn't. It worked okay. It was getting leads, and then it's all of a sudden it wigged out, and it went into this self-fulfilling loop, and it was just burning through thousands and thousands of dollars a day and getting no leads. It cost the business hundreds of thousands of dollars because when it wigged out like proper. Because for those who don't know, so Performance Max is a thing that Google released last year. And basically, it's a fully automated Google ad strategy. So you feed it minimal data, and then it just uses machine learning to determine what it does next. It's basically like AI. It uses AI to determine what to do. Really, really good in theory. There was a lot of buzz around it. But yeah, I haven't heard many people say good things about it. I haven't had a good experience with it. And to be fair, I don't like the idea of giving Google full control of what we are paid to do. Maybe in the future, if it gets better and better results, that will change my mind, and I keep an eye on it for that reason. And I'm lucky to have clients that have really big budgets, some of them, so I can keep an eye from that perspective and go, okay, well, you're spending $5,000 a day on Performance Max. How's it going for you? Because when people are spending $200,000 a month on their ads, they have good data, they have good tracking, they have good ROAS metrics, so they know if something's working or not. So again, finger on the pulse. Everyone's got anecdotal ideas. I've got some practical experience with it, but yeah, I haven't put it this way. We run about 50 Google Ads campaigns, and I don't run much of it at all because it's just not really. I have no performance ads max runnings. Yeah, see, there's a good point. It'd be interesting. I would love to talk to you a bit more about that, Jimmy. So Jimmy has said, on top of that, Performance Max is crushing everything else in e-commerce. Lead gen is a different story. My experience with it is in lead gen, to be fair. So that's a really good point, Jimmy. Yeah, like in lead gen, it does not do a good job, in my opinion. E-commerce have no experience with that part of it. So Mimi's party supplies. Do you know about Etsy marketing or Etsy ads at all? So I sell party supplies, but I'm a tiny business. Good question. No, not really. Not really. I haven't dived into Etsy much. I bought one thing off Etsy once before. But yeah, no, I haven't really dived that much into it. I'm curious to learn more about it. What I might do is go and find someone to interview about it, because I feel like it's a space that's got a lot of potential. It's like TikTok, right? Like this time 6 months ago, I wasn't on TikTok. I had a friend, social as anything, is always telling me to go on it. And I finally decided to bite the bullet and do it. But I knew nothing about it at the start. And then I just sort of slowly learned about it. This is the niche thing. Like the marketing space is a male dominated space actually I lied. There's a lot of females in the space, but there's a lot of males in the space. And because of that, those more feminine things don't get the love, but I think it'll be interesting to see. I know a little bit about Pinterest advertising, but not Etsy. And then Mimi's, I'm not convinced it works, to be honest, not for small businesses at least. I did some trials and made a loss, one conversion over a month. When you do the conversion, when you set up an Etsy ad, is it set up around like keywords, or is it set up around like demographics, like you put in a person who likes this, this, and this, or do you put in keywords? Because I feel like it's that intent-driven based thing. So just answer that when you get a chance. Jimmy, if you're still there, buddy, tell me more about Performance Max and how it works and how you're finding it in e-commerce, because I'm curious about that. So this is another thing about the marketing space, is that there's people that pretend they know everything about everything. They're generally the ones you don't want to listen to. Because if people pretend to know everything about it, generally they know nothing about nothing. So I don't know much about e-commerce, but I have friends like Jimmy and I have friends like Nick, and I have good friends that know a lot about e-commerce. And when I have a question about it, I ask. It's like Etsy. It's like, I'm sure if I put it into my network, I will know someone that's doing Etsy marketing. And then Mimi, I can get back to you with an answer. So I'm curious because I'm genuinely curious myself. So I'll find an answer to that. So Cheech, hi Jimmy, sorry if I'm late. And if this is a quick repeat question, when dealing with roofing lead gen, is there anything I should look out for? Example, quality leads and things to avoid. Yeah, good question. Good question. So when it comes to like roofing, it's in the same boat as any kind of project-based lead gen. So landscaping, they're all the same sort of style. They all present the same way. They all have the same problems. So it depends on where you try and get your lead from. So if you're trying to get your leads from Facebook, you got to really hone in who you're targeting with that, because it's really an intent-based thing. It works really well with Google Ads. I haven't done much with Facebook because we get such good results with Google Ads. Lead quality, yeah, you've got to really be able to, when you do the Google Ads, you really got to be able to split your keywords up well enough into single keyword ad groups to differentiate between the bad quality leads. The thing with bad quality leads is they're only bad quality when the business doesn't know what to do with them. Most leads are good quality. Their business just doesn't know how to upsell them well enough. So they'll get a lead for some small job and they go, oh, it's bad quality. So no, actually your business is just not good enough to be able to turn a low value client into a high value client. So don't blame the leads, because generally the leads aren't bad unless they're spam. It's just someone calling up to repair a small hole in the roof. You don't have the business acumen to go there and go, well, actually, have you thought about doing this as well? Have you thought about doing that? Or have an email campaign set up to upsell them into a new roof. That's what makes them bad. So you need to really talk to the business owner and really define what kind of business you're trying to get. Then you want to really hone your ads in around that. The other thing you could potentially do to improve the ad quality is to really target specific areas. So if you need a high quality client, go and target affluent areas with your ads. That's what I found the easiest way to do that. But nothing really to avoid. It's pretty straightforward. Keywords like roofing, XYZ, roofing near me, roofers, patios, roof repairs. You're going to get away with finding good leads for that because they're searching for it anyway. So Cheech, any more questions, leave them in the comments. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube. So Mimi, I'm pretty sure that you make changes. I went to the base options because I wasn't knowledgeable with it. Yeah, so that ties into what I was saying, Mimi. Like generally the base options of any of these platforms, Facebook, Google, TikTok, blah, 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 generally they skirt to the best interests of the platform itself and not you. And I find this, especially with Google Ads, there's settings in Google Ads that are outright like just trying to take money off people. So really, it really does depend on, like just a little bit of cursory knowledge. Go in there, change a couple of tweaks, may get you a way better result than just one conversion over a month. So yeah, if you're game, let's unpack that together. I'm curious to learn a little bit more about I'll do a bit of diligence beforehand and we can come up with some ideas together. So just let me know. So Jimmy, Performance Max for e-commerce is performing well when you feed Google first-party data, going through your audience insights and adding high-converting audiences to your Performance Max campaigns. I agree that Google has taken a lot of control, but this isn't going to change and you need to adapt. Mike Rhodes has a great script that gives you additional data. Yep. Even without the addition, I found I perform my old smart shopping campaigns, but it does steal from branded searches. Something you need to consider. Yeah, it's a good point. I think philosophically, the way of the world is going to automation and AI. I mean, Chat GPT is everywhere. Everyone's talking about it, and that just reinforces that. That's the way it's going, right? I think we'd all be blissfully ignorant if we, in 2 years going, oh, no, our jobs won't be taken by AI. The need for Jimmy Mitchell doing marketing in 5 years is probably not going to be there. But the need for people to be able to drive this AI probably still would be. And there's still going to need to be people that are strategic in helping people plan this stuff out. So yeah, you're right. Like it's coming whether we like it or not. And that's why I keep one finger on it. I haven't thrown Performance Max out. I haven't thrown any of this stuff out. I just really keep one eye on it. And then when it's ready to try it again. It's like TikTok, right? The one regret I've had in marketing recently is I wish I got on TikTok sooner. And I'll tell you why. I hate TikTok. Sorry, TikTok, if you don't like me saying that, but I hate TikTok. I think the idea of TikTok is terrible. It's terrible from the fact that it's creating a generation of people that just have no ability to not have instant gratification. That doesn't stop me from trying to adapt and learn the platform because it's not going anywhere. So like I may not like it, doesn't mean I don't have to learn it. That's the difference between someone that actually cares about what they do from a marketing perspective and someone that's trying to make money. So like I looked at TikTok and went, man, this is going to be a big change to my thought process because I don't think like how it does it. And you look at my first videos and they were just basically my thinking trying to punch it in there. But if you look at my TikTok feed over time, the way I do TikTok has changed because I've learned and I've adapted and I've overcome not going, oh, actually Performance Max TikTok, oh, I don't like it, so I'm never going to use it. Whether you like it or not, it's going to exist. I actually thought the reason I didn't get onto TikTok early, because I knew about it from when it was Musical.ly, but the reason I didn't, I was like, as soon as the big tech giants see this, it's just going to be a feature of another platform, which it has to. Mimi, of course. Yeah, please do. I do this once a week around the same time. So thank you for tuning in. But yeah, I thought TikTok would just be rolled into another platform like YouTube and Instagram, which it has, but those tech platforms left it too long. They went they needed to incorporate what it was doing earlier and they might have snuffed it out, but it's the horse is bolted. Like Haru is saying here, it has a lot of views. It's where the eyeballs are. So if you're a true marketer that is trying to have the best interest of clients at heart, it may not be for your clients, but you have to understand why the eyeballs are there, and you have to adjust your strategies based on the demographics. People's interests, people's attention spans are getting shorter and shorter. You have to adjust the way you do marketing because of that. TikTok has just accelerated that process. So yeah, even I've found since I've been using TikTok, my attention span's getting shorter and shorter. Like it just shows how much power these marketing companies, these big tech giants have on us, really. So Michael Lynn, another quick question. When building your websites, I understand it's not about being a glorified digital business card, but what systems have you or your team built for client websites that got them results based on local service-based businesses? Yeah. So call to actions. I think the biggest thing that people miss when they're building websites is they don't have enough call to actions. You can never have enough call to actions on a website. And I don't care what people say. Some of my pages will have up to 11 call to actions, basically buttons going to the same spot. I always have a contact form at the top. I always have a contact form at the bottom. And I always have ways of contacting in every paragraph. Because the worst thing you can have someone do from a conversion rate standpoint is have someone scroll up or down when they're ready to make a decision. You'll lose them. There's a good chance you're going to lose them at some point. Having more than 3 call to actions on a page increases your conversion rate by 50%. So don't be afraid to have too many buttons on a website. I always tell, because I get pushback on this from clients, I'm like, well, my job is to get you leads. That's my job. If my job is to get you leads, the way I do that is by having lots of buttons on the site. And until something changes where buttons aren't required, they still work. So lots of buttons on the site, lots of call to actions. Another thing you need to have is you need to make sure that your mobile user experience is on point. Over 63% of your organic search is going to come from mobile. So you need to make sure that that mobile experience is better than the desktop experience. To the point is what we do as part of our process at My Online Guys. When we build a website, we'll build the whole thing on a computer because it's easier. Then we will effectively have phones. We have an iPhone and a Samsung. We put them on the table. And when we're doing our QA, we literally scroll through the website on phones, right? Physical phones. We don't use software to make the screen slides. We use physical phones. We scroll through it and we fix the stuff that we see. So we effectively build the website twice, but we get good conversion rates because of it, because the mobile experience there's not text coming off the sides. We change heading sizes for mobile versus desktop. Those subtle things, they can increase your conversion rate by 2-3%. And 2-3% on 100 leads is an extra 3 leads. An extra 3 leads a month is an extra 12 leads a quarter. 9 leads a quarter, an extra 9 leads a quarter is an extra 27 leads a year. So, Todd, yeah, I design websites mobile view first and flesh out desktop. Yeah, we should do that. I just find computer easier to operate. I'm an old man. I hate everything. I hate mobile phones. But you're right. Yeah, it is easier to design mobile first and then blow it out to the right sizing. Whatever works for you. But that's what I would suggest. Michael, when you're building your website, when you're building out your websites, is think about, you can't have too many call to actions. Mobile experience is really important, and it's got to be fast. 2023, people don't have the tolerance for a slow website. They just don't. So you need to make sure your website is fast, cracks on, and does what it needs to do. So you need to have an understanding of how to make a website fast, whether that's post building it or having good processes when you build it. So hopefully that helps you answer that question. Is there any more questions, guys? Have you ever thought of making an app for My Online Guy? I don't know what that app would be, Harrow. It's not really anything that I can cover off in an app. I have an idea for a startup, which will end up being an app. But I've got so many things on my plate. That's further down the line. But I have a really, really awesome idea for a startup, and I'm actively talking to web dev houses now to try and get it built. But this thing potentially has legs. I might as well tell you guys, right? Like validation. You can steal the idea. It doesn't mean you're going to market it better than me, right? So my thoughts on this idea for a business is there's a lot of websites out there that do courses. So you can get a course, pay for it, learn it, record it. Generally, the courses, they leave gaps in your knowledge. So you do a course and it's like, okay, well, now I know Google Ads, but I need to learn more about conversion. Is this Justin Horro from Manly Seagull? I wish, man. No, it's just Jimmy. So you have people that struggle to learn specific aspects of, like, say, Google Ads, right? You need to learn conversion tracking. So how do you learn that at the moment? You either have to watch a lot of YouTube videos that aren't specifically tailored to you, or you have to hire a consultant. So what I'm wanting to build is a thing that's like OutSchool, which is for kids. But OutSchool is essentially a platform that allows people to do group live coaching sessions, but like hour-long live coaching sessions. That doesn't exist in marketing. There is no platform right now where you can have an hour-long coaching session with someone, group coaching session with someone on a specific topic of marketing. So if you wanted to learn conversion tracking and I knew conversion tracking in and out, I could charge people $20, $30 a head, get the economies of scale, and teach 10 people how to do it at once and answer your questions while you're doing it. So I'm building a marketplace that connects those people with people that want to learn specific parts of the marketing process. So if you want to learn, say, Etsy, you want to learn how to do a specific part of, or there's something you don't understand. No, it's not like Hustlers University, because Hustlers University is about generating affiliate marketing revenue. It's basically an OutSchool clone. What I'm building is an OutSchool clone for the marketing space to teach people fractional skills in real time. That's the point of difference is that it's not a recorded course. I would come on and we would jump on a Zoom with 10 of us, and I would run through how to do conversion tracking for Google Ads. And then if you had a question, I would answer it in real time. Be effectively like hiring me as a consultant for an hour to help you. But then we get the economies of scale. So that doesn't actually, funnily enough, that doesn't actually exist in the marketing space, which surprised me. Because what we do when we need to teach specific skills is I'll pay someone a lot of money to come and teach my team. But, if someone has a specific expertise in a specific area, they know about one specific part really well, then it could be a good revenue stream for someone to go, actually, I could just teach. I know everything there is to know about setting up how to come up with captions for TikToks, right? So imagine there's a person on there that's running group live casters for $30, and it's all it is about captions on TikTok, nothing else. Skip all the YouTube, skip all the messing around with YouTube. You can ask them if you have any questions. You can ask them in real time. They charge you $20, $30. They're charging 10 people $20 or $30. That person makes $300 US. You get the information you need. Everyone gets a better outcome. So that's my idea. So I'm talking to a developer right now about building it. It's going to be self-funded, so it won't be pretty, but I just want to test the concept before I go and invest big money into it. So, yeah. Anyone that stayed along, that's a little gift to you. You get to hear about what the next 6 months look like for me, because that's going to be a big job. But yeah, so that's what I'm thinking about there. So from a user benefit, that sounds amazing for beginners, even veterans. It's going to save a lot of time and headache getting info from the best in the field. That's the idea. And it incentivizes the best in the field to do it, because they can help people. They can help. It's like one to many, as opposed to one to one. Because like if you were to hire me to teach you a specific thing about marketing, I'm charging you $400 an hour for that, because it's lost time. Whereas if I could take 15 people and teach them the same thing and answer the questions they're going to have, and everyone helps, it helps everyone. Well, I can make that $400 an hour, but I just spread it across 15 people. So yeah, I don't know if it has legs or not, but I'm willing to punt that it does, because I would use it. That's how you know something's got legs. Is I'm a professional marketer with a marketing agency, and I would pay for the subscription so my team could do this. That's how you know it's got potential legs. So yeah, it's coming. So keep an eye out for that if you're interested. Guys, if you're still tuning in, I'm about to head off now. It's 10 o'clock here. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to follow me, please. TikTok, Instagram, wherever you watch it from. Make sure to hit me up. Haru, thanks for joining us. You're an absolute mensch. You're the OG. You are the OG of the channel. You've been following the channel since we had about 20 people on it. So appreciate your support, continued support. And guys, if you have any more questions, I'm going to be on at the same time next week. So make sure to ask your question, think of your questions, jump on, ask them. I'm happy to answer them, as you can see. So guys, have a good weekend. Make sure to stay safe. Get cracking. Get some clients. Get some marketing done. And I'll catch us all next week. Oh, well, we got one question. Got a question. Got more questions. We're going to save them for a call soon. Look forward to speaking. Follow this man on TikTok. Thank you so much. We're off. See you later, everyone. Peace. And catch you next week.